All right, I can do that. Thank you so much. Now, if you can bear with me for the benefit of the bandwidth, if I'm going to actually probably share the slides, you may not actually see my image, but the voice over would be still active. So just bear with me. Then during the Q&A, probably I'll be back online in terms of the video one. All right. Now let me share this slide form. All right. Career in let me coin this way. You have come on board, well, in the field of aerospace engineering. So obviously, why are you actually studying for 4 years? Is obviously you want to build a career in aerospace engineering. So the best is that, so let us actually be very focused on what we are going to actually discuss today to give you an overview on towards to actually your career actually. And what are the important items? What is the options available? What are the options also for other engineering graduates available within the field of aerospace engineering is also important in this particular lecture. Now, let me go on. Okay, this is a definition of aerospace engineering. This probably there is a lot of versions of definition, but in a nutshell, what I want to actually share with you, all students today, is that in a layman term, what is actually aerospace engineering? Well, you can quickly tell that it's an engineering application field actually. So that means it is a combination of a lot of basic engineering fields, mechanical, electrical, well, maybe civil to a certain extent. You have computer communication, you have control engineering, all those basic engineering that you have heard. We can say that, well, it is everything has been put together and forming a course called aerospace engineering. So if you want to do aerospace engineering, that or rather you want to work in a aerospace field, you should also have a very broad perspective of engineering. There is a bit of mechanical, bit of electrical, a bit of computer, a bit of everything. Well, simply we can say you are probably well, master of, yeah, jack of all trade and master of something. Yeah, jack of all trade, jack of all the engineering fields, but a master of basically aerospace engineering. So you must understand throughout your course, you will be exposed to a component of all those engineering fields, which is very, very crucial in terms of the aerospace engineering field itself. Otherwise, you can't function. So if you look at the, that is the reason there's a very, very good, I would say saying, most difficult science is what is a rocket science. So why is there the mother of all science, they say. So in order for you to conquer, well, rocket science falls under aerospace engineering as well. You should be able to understand all those basic principles of engineering, all the basic engineering fields before you can conquer aerospace engineering. So be very clear of what are you doing and what are you going to actually be exposed to in coming 4 years. Now, a quick question. If I'm an aerospace engineer, can I function as a mechanical engineer? Yes, you can. Can I function as an electrical engineer? Yes, you can. Can I function as a civil engineer doing some design works? Yes, you can. Can I work in a well? Can I function as an oil and gas engineer? Yes, you can. So it's a very, very broad. You will be exposed to lots of actually these application fields before you can specialize on aerospace engineering itself. Now, if you ask me whether a mechanical engineer can function as an aerospace engineer, yes and no. If the field is or the scope is very much to that mechanical engineering field, which all of you will be exposed to, yes, he can. But he can't override aerospace engineering in that sense. So later you will see what are the fields that we can some or other crisscross. Means to say it can be also contributed, or rather other graduates can also participate in those kind of fields. So Aerospace engineering, technically, there is a definition of aerospace engineering is there is a convergence of two fields. First is aeronautical, vehicle operating in atmosphere, for sciences of aircraft, helicopters, even balloons, for example. Those are aeronautical component. And another component which is covered in aerospace engineering, it is astronautics. So it's space related activities, space related component. For example, we talk about satellites, shuttles, space shuttles, rocket, etc. So, in aerospace engineering, we cover the atmospheric layer and also above atmospheric layer with the space, I would say, segment. So you can imagine that above maybe 200 kilometer of altitude and average, we cover that as well. And then atmospheric layer where your aircraft fly, we cover that as well. So therefore, if you say that I'm doing Bachelor of Aerospace Engineering, so you should know that, well, I'll be involved in two sciences, aeronautical sciences and astronautical sciences. So this is important, and this is very, very unique. Why, I will explain later. Why this is very unique is that not many universities outside there, or rather not many places outside there, can offer this mixture of both that you can actually see even in our country. All right. Any well, shall I ask? Probably I can finish my presentation, or rather we can actually go on even Q&A, a small Q&A, I would say, while I pass on to the next slide. Any questions? For, let me get this thing right. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, I can move on to the next slide, but we will have a bigger Q&A session after the presentation.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask directly, or you can use the chat box. No worries.
Yeah. Chat box, I think Dr. Salah can assist that and probably forward the question to me here.
Sure.
Right. So I'll move forward. All right. Now, acquired knowledge in aerospace. Now, this is very important. Aerospace engineering, all phases of research and development in aeronautical and astronautical. So as I've mentioned just now, clearly, aerospace engineering consists of aeronautical, means the sciences of aircraft, and astronautical, sciences of spacecraft. Spacecraft can be in a satellite, can be a rocket, etc. Then novel technologies in aviation and space science. This is what you're looking at. So two different components that you are going to see, two different vehicles actually you'll be exposed to, and aerospace product. So aerospace product is comprising the aeronautical product and astronautical product. I mean components, engineering components. Now, more importantly, if you look at the niche areas, this is a snapshot of what you can expect in your curriculum for the next 4 years, even maybe in your practical training, etc. This is what you can expect. Don't worry much about the the exact field: aerodynamic, avionics, fluid dynamics, flight mechanics, thermodynamics, propulsion, structure, communication, material science, guidance, navigation, control. So these are the a snapshot of what you'll be exposed to. Now, this is when you look at this sub specialty or the subfield in aerospace itself. All these sciences, all these fields can be also contributed or rather participated by other engineering graduates. For example, if you look at fluid dynamics, yes, well, we deal with fluid dynamics as well for aerospace engineering. But then mechanical engineers can also work on problems, fluid problems. So they can somehow or other contribute to aerospace engineering in whole. So therefore, not only the aerospace engineers are relevant to all these fields, but also other engineering graduates are also relevant into the field. All right, this is very, very important. But if they want to start designing a spacecraft, that job need to be exclusively to aerospace engineer, because they have the knowledge, or they will be exposed to that vehicle design, space vehicle design, aircraft design. So this is very specific. Mechanical engineer or chemical engineer or electrical engineer would not be learning all those components. So in a way, you are quite lucky because you get a very good overview of most of the field, and then you are going to deep dive into your own field where it is very exclusive for all of you. That means no other field is going to learn about the exact function, the exact philosophy of aircraft, the exact function, exact philosophy of a spacecraft. Nobody else is going to be exposed to. So you are very lucky. You get a peek into other fields, but nobody can peep into your field. That's what I'm going to say. All right. Any questions so far? If not, I can move on to next slide. Very quiet.
Yeah, none in the chat box yet.
Yeah.
So we got 49 students here. No, actually 49 minus 2, 47 students here. So if you can just raise your hand and then turn on your mic and ask questions.
All right. If no, I move on to my third slide, routes to becoming an aerospace engineer. Now, you have come into Universiti Putra Malaysia. So let us see what are the options that you might have had in terms of aerospace engineering. So courses in aerospace engineering, you can you can get it done, or rather it is available locally, or even in foreign universities. So now, since we are in a Malaysian environment, so let's see what our options are. Local aerospace public universities. UA is Universiti Awam, that's in Bahasa Malaysia. We have foreign students as well, right? Salah, in the first year.
Yeah.
So I believe that maybe after about a semester or two, they will understand Bahasa Malaysia. So it's fine. Universiti Putra Malaysia, well established in aeronautical and astronautical courses. Reason being, we are basically a full-fledged aerospace engineering department. So we teach students in aeronautical and astronautical. Okay, well-tailored undergraduate and postgraduate courses. You can do aerospace in University Technology Malaysia, but not a full component of combination of both aeronautical and astronautical. You can't get it in University Technology Malaysia because they are doing only aeronautical. So it is actually a bachelor in aeronautical engineering, but although it is in an aerospace field, so you can't get the flavor of space when you go to UTM or University Technology Malaysia. It is in for those foreign students, it is very near to Singapore, south of Malaysia. University Science, on the other hand, University Science Malaysia courses are given, or rather provided in aeronautical and astronautical, but the flavor of aeronautical, it is not as strong as what is available in Universiti Putra Malaysia. Okay. Yes, the bachelor is Bachelor of Aerospace Engineering. So in this country, in Malaysia, you have only 2 universities, basically full-fledged. You get a good exposure of aeronautical, or rather astronautical courses, aeronautical and astronautical courses. Where else, if you look at University of Malaysia, yes, you have a course as well, aeronautical and astronautical. But as I've said, it is not the depth and the breadth is not as just like what we do in Universiti Putra Malaysia. So if you look at the exact department or the history of the department, in terms of the achievement, in terms of that output, you are in a very, very, very strategic and very good place to do aerospace engineering. Okay, that is very, very important for you to understand. Last but not least, University Tun Hussein On, they are focusing on aeronautical courses. So it is a bachelor in aeronautical. It is not bachelor in aerospace. Now, what I've provided here, just a snapshot. If you look at Malaysia, you are in the right place for the right program, aerospace engineering. So now there are a lot of private universities also are providing aerospace engineering related courses, specifically aeronautical. So you can't learn space in private universities in Malaysia. That's a fact. But you can learn aeronautical in private universities in Malaysia. But most of the universities in Malaysia, private universities in Malaysia, are focusing on technical courses. That means what? They will become a technician, they will not become an engineer. So there's a two different way. Afterwards, we will explain a bit on that note. So all these public universities, including Universiti Putra Malaysia, we are accredited by Board of Engineers Malaysia. That means what? When you graduate, you can call yourself an engineer. Okay, you can call yourself an engineer. But if you are graduating maybe from a public university which is offering maybe some technical courses, or even bachelor in aeronautical, but those courses or those programs are more related to aircraft maintenance, you should be calling yourself an aircraft technician. So that is very important. So you will not be exposed to design works like what we do in Universiti Putra Malaysia. Okay, it's more into the maintenance courses that is available in private universities in Malaysia. Okay, just to give you and put the practically Universiti Putra Malaysia on Malaysia's map, and just to conclude that you are in the right place and in the right program, so to say. All right. Now, for example, what you should be doing as an engineer, because there's a lot of well, aeronautical graduates outside there coming out from private. The only difference is that they cannot be registered under Institute of Engineers because they are not engineers. So the first thing actually you should be doing is that register yourself as an engineer in IM, for example, upon graduation, and then you should be also able to actually admit yourself and register to BEM, Board of Engineers of Malaysia as well. All right. And if there is no accreditation of engineering program, for example, if you're coming from other countries, your degree is not recognized, then you should be actually taking, but this is not the case in your profile, because the program that you are in Malaysia, it is fully recognized. So working as an aerospace engineer, you have three major options: engineers, lecturers like myself, or even researchers like myself as well. So you can do that. You can do that. So these are the typical, I would say, career path, which means that your horizon is, is huge. You have a huge horizon in terms of the opportunities upon graduation. Working experience. Now, with respect, when you start actually being in after graduation, upon graduation, you start working, you gather work experiences, then you should be considering to register yourself in Malaysia. For those foreign students, they will have basically those processes in their own country. But in Malaysia, let's say you are planning to work in Malaysia and stay in Malaysia, the next thing actually you need to be looking at upon graduation, getting the work experience, relevant work experience, and getting yourself registered as a professional engineer with your working experience in aerospace engineering. So all of you are will be upon graduation will be administered as a graduate engineer in aerospace engineering, because your degree is recognized as an aerospace engineering degree in Malaysia. So that is a very good news. So it's recognized. All you have to do, clock in that work experiences, and then you are entitled basically to do that process to become a fully professional engineer in the country. Now, why this is very important, your signature would be worthwhile. Upon graduation, when you sign off as a graduate engineer, probably, well, it's okay, it's fine, but then there is no authority in that sense. But when you have a professional engineership, or rather you have attained that level, your signature is of value, and it is a recognition for every practicing engineer. So you are a full-fledged practicing engineer. So it is an honor basically after your graduation. So all of you are in a good program, good path. Upon graduation, that's what we should be looking for. All right. Now, job opportunities. This is very important. We are spending our 4 years here. And what exactly that we are planning after the 4 years? Obviously, we are going to land or rather try seeking jobs. And if you look at the Malaysian perspective, fully aerospace company, I'm not talking about mechanical. There are mechanical companies or electrical companies are also providing services to aerospace industry in the country. But what I'm going to look at here is that totally 100% full-fledged aerospace related companies or agencies in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, it is in a, well, scaling up or ramping up trend. If you look at 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, if you look at it, we had about probably 100 over companies. But today, as of last year, 2020, there are full-fledged about 230 over companies, aerospace company, full-fledged doing what all of you will be exposed in these 4 years. So opportunities are huge. Now, there are opportunities also for other graduates, engineering graduates, to work in these companies. If I pick a particular company, for example, industries, let's say aeronautical industries, what I have spelled out here, for example, CTRM, AirAsia, Airbus, SAE is an maintenance, Sepang Aircraft Engineering is a maintenance company for Airbus. There are a lot of flying schools. They have also maintenance job. There are design job they are doing. So if I look at, I pick a good example, maybe Asia, I think all of you know that. Yes, indeed, there are aerospace engineers working in Asia. There are also mechanical engineers working in Asia. There are also electrical engineers working in Asia. So what we can say is that, but the job is actually limited to electrical, the job is limited to mechanical. But if you look at aerospace engineers, they are actually everywhere and anywhere in the company. So that is a very good, I would say, selling point for our aerospace engineering program, or rather for our aerospace engineering degree. Now for astronautics, of course, astronautics by virtue, it is the component, or rather the actual scope and the market is much smaller compared to aeronautical. In Malaysia, I've just given 2 examples. Miasat, well, you guys see Astro, watch Astro. You have Maxis providing mobile services. All these are basically trunked, or rather are driven by satellite services in Malaysia through Miasat and Binariang. Through Binariang, they own Miasat satellite series. So you see there's a lot of opportunities. I have a lot of students also working in Binariang and as a satellite engineer, as a satellite maintenance engineer, as a satellite design engineer, and so on. So, well, the opportunities are great because you are also will be exposed to astronautical in Universiti Putra Malaysia. So when you go for interviews, all those terms they are going to talk about or ask you, everything is actually very familiar and you can respond to that. And there are many European companies also doing space in Malaysia, but I would say their sizes are smaller compared to what you have in aeronautical engineering, EADS, European Air and Defense System, okay, aircraft defense system, aerospace defense system, huge company, lots of actually activities in Malaysia as well. So this is a snapshot of what you can expect upon graduation, and I would always expect all of you for us to be very competitive compared to anyone else, compared to even your engineering graduates from other fields. Try getting into internship very much earlier, even in the first year when you have a semester break. Try level best getting in internship into all these companies. Although your official internship or practical training will be in your 3rd year, but the trend that I see, the most successful graduates are those graduates who get and embark themselves into internships very much earlier, and they land into jobs which pay in probably top 5% of that fresh graduates, so it's a very good pay and high pay. They land in the best jobs that a fresh graduate can get. So if you look at their CV, they are not stopping at only one official internship, which is on the 3rd year. You look at them, they are trying to do internships every semester as well. But officially in curriculum, you will be exposed in practical training that the university will help, or the department will help you to find a job or other practical training place. But otherwise, you need to actually work very hard and try yourself basically to start doing this even in your first year semester break, etc. So that is just a preamble. It's not a must. I'm not just, it is desirable to have that kind of exposure so that you can land into good and high paying jobs upon graduation. All right, and government agencies, the aeronautical, we have also government agencies. TUDM is our Air Force. CAM is basically a civil authority, civil aviation authority Malaysia. It controls that, if you look at it, it controls basically all those aeronautical approvals, etc., and activities in the country. These are the government agencies which you can also work. I have students also working in CAM. I have students also working in TUDM. Astronautical, for example, we have Malaysian Space Agency. We do have our graduates also working there in Malaysian Space Agency. Otherwise, you can always end up after your graduation in universities doing your postgraduate studies, masters in aerospace. For example, we have a fantastic master program that we have just came up with recently this year, Masters in Aerospace Engineering. It's a top course. I think it is a fantastic opportunities for you just to bridge your bachelor and your master program upon graduation. So these are the opportunities available and made available for all of you to really consider. So you either you stay in the university to complete the masters, or you can actually also look into options otherwise. Now I've just limited my discussion into opportunities in Malaysia, but as I've said, as I've been telling people, sky is the limit. When we are actually working in aerospace field, sky is the limit, as I always say. Therefore, it is supposed to be borderless. Your opportunities are not only in Malaysia, you have equal opportunities elsewhere as well, because the field is so dynamic. There is so many opportunities. I have many students working in overseas, even in Singapore, etc. But the base is always been here in Malaysia. So there is no border. When you talk about aerospace, just think that this is a borderless program. You are needed, and you have to be good, so that you are needed not only in Malaysia but elsewhere. That is what is going to happen. All right. So you can consider to stay on to do a master's, or even if you get a first class degree, 3.75, try that, please. Then you can enroll into a PhD program without having to go through the master's. That is available here in Universiti Putra Malaysia. So if you get a first class 3.75, you can straight go into a PhD program in aerospace in Universiti Putra Malaysia. All right, and this is also available in countries like UK, United Kingdom, etc. So we are more or less that kind of opportunities are also available in Universiti Putra Malaysia. All right, I think I'll just probably allow some Q&A. If any doubts, any questions, then we can actually start discussing further.
Yep. We have quite a few students who left messages on the chat box. So I'd like to call upon Anbu. Anbu, do you want to direct the questions to Prof. Renu? Can you turn on your mic and ask the question?
Sure, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Okay, Professor, I have a question. Is that the aerospace industry is also engaged in the manufacture of flight?
Yes, yes, of course. Like the example that I've given you, CTRM. This is Malacca, right? They are basically involved in manufacturing components of Airbus. So yes, so we have a lot of. In fact, we have not only one but 3 companies actually produces components for aircraft. The one that is big enough, you know. So yes, that's possible if you are interested on those sort of scope, manufacturing. But manufacturing is also under mechanical. So if you are a mechanical engineer, you may want to also consider. I mean, if you have a mechanical student, they might be also end up in an aerospace manufacturing facility, because you have the job floor and job floor design. The aerospace, the mechanical engineers are very much familiar. They can come and assist. where else we can actually be in charge of the design of the product itself as an aerospace engineer. They might not be able to do that. You'll be able to do that. Right?
Okay, and one more question, Professor. And
Yes.
how big is Malaysia aerospace industry? How big is Malaysia aerospace industry?
Well, as opposed to other, well, I would say industries, it is growing rapidly. If you look at the market capital, maybe by 2030, I can say you may end up having about 11 billion worth of activities. So it's I would tell you this is a very good indication. This field is ever growing. It's still, as I've said, that's the reason I've just put it, it's still expanding. It's ever growing. Now, if you touch a mobile phone, that means the satellite services is important. More and more people are using it. That means the industry has to be supported by aerospace engineers. That's what it means. Okay. But if you compare Malaysia as opposed to US, of course we are relatively smaller, but that is good enough because of our population as well. All right.
Thank you, Professor.
Yep.
Okay, next one is from Nurin Izzati. Nurin Izzati, you want to pose the question to Prof. Reno?
Okay. An aerospace company like, all right. How can you repeat the question?
Yeah, Nurin.
That's what.
Okay, the question was, Prof, I have a question. If one would like to be an astronaut with an aerospace engineering degree, should they take any extra degree to pursue their ambition? And what would be the right path for them? This question by Nurin Izzati. Yep.
Nurin Izzati, yeah.
Nurin Izzati.
To become aerodynamic. Yeah, definitely. Okay. You see, I said, we are very lucky because we'll be you must understand. Well, we are dealing with rocket science, so to say. Okay, aerospace field, you'll be exposed to rocket science. Rocket science is mother of all sciences. Now, if you dwell with this kind of components, or rather, if you are exposed to this kind of components, other application in other fields, well, would be palatable to you as well. So the question is that aerodynamic engineer, you want to become aerodynamic engineer. Obviously, if you can design an aircraft, safe aircraft, you can design. The process of designing are very, very complex. If you can do so, you will be exposed to even aerodynamic courses. Obviously, you should be able to design or be part of any automobile team to look into the aerodynamic aspects. Why go so far? You see lots of electrical poles outside there, right? TNB, our electrical company. So they run a lot of electrical poles. And you have basically a lot of buildings as well. Maybe the Twin Tower you have. You have the Twin Tower. And do you know something? We need to do a aerodynamic test for those kind of towers. And who are the best guys actually to do this? It's the aerospace engineering guys. For us, the subject matter, we conquer the subject matter. The specimen can change. Mean to say, you have been exposed to aerodynamic. The specimen can be aircraft itself. That's what you'll be exposed to, will be exposed to. It can be a car. It can be a building. It can be bridges. So once the knowledge has been acquired, the specimen can change. That is the reason you should be able to function in most of the field. And they need this kind of knowledge. And they need this kind of person who can actually do that kind of calculation and modeling. I saw this question here I would like to ask about astronautic industry. How can I build an aerospace company like SpaceX and NASA with PhD? You don't need a PhD to build a company to start with. I think who asked this question? Huh? Can you identify yourself?
Nurin Izzati, I think she had problem with her mic, but right. She was the same person. Yeah, asked the question just now.
You don't have to. You don't have to have a PhD basically to build a company or to do a business. But the knowledge and the idea is what matters. So you need to have a solid. If you want to be an aerospace engineer, you want to build an aerospace company, you need to have a solid background in aerospace engineering to start with. Okay, there's two things you can have. You want to be Elon Musk, it's fine, he has money and he doesn't have the knowledge in aerospace engineering. So you tell me what you want. If you have the money, you can actually buy the aerospace engineers to build your aerospace company. But if you don't have the money, what you need to have is that you need to have the knowledge. So you need to actually make sure you work very hard in bachelor and acquire all those knowledge, and you can build your own company. So you must have these two. Huh? No money, no talk. No money, no honey. Yeah? People say, right? So Elon Musk has good amount of money. You know, it was not very easy also for him. You know how he has actually built his company. It's about almost a 15-20 years old company. He got the best rocket engineers from all over, especially in America. He started with 110 rocket scientists or rocket engineers who has been actually in the field almost 20 to 30 years already. He plugged them, he buy them, and he started up this particular company. Even then, it took decades with all those experiences to build a launcher. That's what it takes. So he started humbly with about 110 highly specialized, full of experience, who has been doing rocket engineering, rocketry all over, and started that company. So he had the money, he can do that, he can buy them off. Imagine, let's say you're getting paid about let's say $10,000 US, but then he comes and tells you, no, I'm going to give you about $40,000 US. Come and actually join SpaceX. Well, obviously you will go. So that's the thing, right? So, but you see what you have. If you have that much of money, obviously you can do anything. All right. But if you don't, doesn't matter. You should have your fundamentals right. That means knowledge. Right.
Okay. And the next one's from Amira. So Amira, can you introduce yourself and then ask your question to Prof. Renu?
Okay. Evening, Prof. My question is a bit simple. As we graduate, we do have to graduate. We do have to register as a graduate engineer ourselves.
Yes.
So, is there any like extra steps or exams we have to take as an aerospace engineer?
For the registration, you mean?
I mean like after we register as a graduate engineer, do we have to take any other things?
Upon graduation, you can automatically register as a graduate engineer with the Board of Engineers Malaysia. That is automatic, no exam needed. As long as you pass our exams in UPM, that's fine. But to be a professional engineer, obviously you need the experience, plus there are interview and examination, and also presentation now.
No, so for the like job and presentation, all of it has to be about aerospace then?
It's all about your job, nothing to do with your degree. Your degree with UPM upon graduation, that's good enough. It's a ticket to get yourself registered as a board, as a graduate engineer. From that day onwards, you should be collecting your professional working experiences, and after some time, you will be ready to provide a report with all those experiences. Go for the exam, go for the interview, and do a presentation. It is just like another process. It might take about 4 years, 5 years, and so on. Right?
Oh, so we do have to keep our own like training record and professional development, you know?
Yes. So, but anyway, you will be exposed to engineer and society, right? Soon, right?
In your third year.
Yeah. So then you will get an insight of it a bit more clearly, how to do that and what needs to be done.
No, thank you, Prof.
All right.
Okay.
Someone also asked, how can we gain an experience as long as we are studying? As I've told you, internship is the keyword here. Internship is a keyword here. Okay. that you don't wait for third year, intervene even in the first year. That is a key, right? Now, you have seen, I've told you just now, I've shared that students or graduates who have multiple internships, multiple practical training will end up in a high paying job. Always. That's the trend. Regardless whether it's aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, any field for the matter. Those successful graduates or successful fresh graduates. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep, go ahead. I hear someone.
My name is Abi. I just have a question, sir. As you were saying that internship. So you are telling me, sir, in my first year, after 7 weeks of studies, I can go for an internship, is it?
Not 7 weeks, your semester breaks. Maybe you wait for after you finish your first year, you will have a break, semester break, 2 months of holiday, for example. Plan an internship. You may not end up getting an internship in aerospace company, but it doesn't matter. You get any engineering internship, it's all good. It's excellent. Some of them not even getting any engineering internship, but they're getting in an internship of doing something, because that is a job experience, you know. That what matters. You should beautify your CV.
So what is your recommendation, sir? After first year or second year?
I've been telling you from just now. What else you want to hear? I said get it as much as you can. If you can get an internship after the first semester, great. But at least I said please consider of getting an internship after your first year. You have a semester break 2 months. Don't go and actually just enjoy your holidays at home and you know, chat or meeting friends or going holidaying. Use that time basically to invest on internship.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So most important, look, I'm just telling you, there are successful graduates. What are the attributes? What is so different? Why they are so successful? And what makes them so successful? If you look at their CV, then this is what you have. Now, there are 47 of you right here. Assume that you graduate. 47 of you will be having the same CV. Maybe the internship or practical training is the third year. How this high-paying jobs is going to actually pick all this or choose the 47 candidates? You tell me. Obviously, you should be offering something better, right? You should have something unique. So how to make yourself unique? Plan very much earlier. All right. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Gerald, you want to ask question? I saw your question there. Gerald, you here?
There is one particular question: how to become a licensed aircraft engineer? Right, that's a very good question. Now, there's two, as I've said, there is two part here. Although it is an aerospace, there's two part. Licensed aircraft engineers are technicians. You can imagine, let's say you want to repair a car. The car, a mechanic can repair the car. But to design the car, the mechanic do not know how to design the car. The automobile engineer would design the car. So likewise in aircraft, in order for you to design that aircraft, the aerospace engineer, like all of you, are supposed to design that aircraft. But to maintain the aircraft, you need a technician. You need technicians basically to maintain the aircraft. So licensed aircraft engineers are technically, they are engineers, but their path is basically from technician, they become a licensed aircraft engineer. Basically, assume it is an engine, they can touch this engine, this particular engine. You have to look their rating. Okay, if it's a A330, you look at the type of engine, or 777. So they can only touch that particular aircraft and what is the ratings that they have. So they can sign off that. You can't do it. It's just like a certification to repair a car. An engineer can design the car, but to repair the car, it is a certification. Okay, so there's a two different part. You are in the designing part, you are not in the maintenance part. Okay.
Okay, there are more questions here. Gerald, again, can you turn on your mic to ask a question here?
There's also some people have asked me, is there any opportunities to become a pilot? Yes, if you get yourself selected with an aerospace degree, it is even better. You will understand the mechanics of aircraft, while you can understand the whole function of it better, and chances of you landing a pilot job is also very high. I have a lot of pilots who have a aeronautical engineering or even aerospace engineering degree as a basic degree.
There's also a question on how to become aerodynamic engineer for F1 team.
Yeah, I think I've explained that also just now. Yeah.
Okay, I move on to the last question from Nurizati here. And probably, what quality do we need to have to be the best among others to be noticed by our future employer? I think that one, yep.
I think I've also sort of gave you an insight just now, right? First is obviously your results must speak itself. Aim for very, very good results. Then in combination with all those additional internship that you have, and any other activities other than the studying or other teaching and learning that we are going through in the curriculum would help to beautify the CV and will ensure that you land in a very, very good high paying job. Yeah.
Prof, do you think our Malaysian government will expand the space exploration? Question by Ishwar Dewan.
Inevitable, but I don't think we will do interplanetary missions. But I'm very sure we are going to we will have to stay in space. That means we are not going to go to Mars. There will not be any program of going to Mars or going to Jupiter or fly by the sun and so on. But I'm very sure we will keep on flying a lot of satellites in order to service our market. Okay, our telecommunication market, our Earth observation market, our weather needs, etc. That is important.
Okay, Munir, can you explain your question again? It's not very clear to me. Can you turn on your mic and ask the question directly?
Okay, so sorry, Prof. I want to ask the question. So, so for the maintenance that we want to, like, if the car have a problem, okay, so the maintenance part is the technician, right? So, so if we want to be a technician, we need a license.
Yes, obviously.
So,
yes,
so
obviously.
what is? So is this have a difference between aircraft engineer and also aerospace engineer?
Yes, that's why I've answered you just now. I've explained there's two different routes. One is aerospace engineer. You guys are doing here, what you guys are doing, you are designing that aircraft. Another one is basically aircraft engineer or aircraft maintenance engineer. They are going to repair that aircraft or maintain the aircraft. Two different paths. You can't cross each other. One is a technician path, and another one is an engineer path. Okay?
Okay, keep on.
Yeah. The difference is design, and you always remember design. You will learn about designing an aircraft or spacecraft. The aircraft maintenance engineer would not learn about designing aircraft. They will only learn about how to ensure the maintenance of the aircraft. That means there is a process with all those checks. That's all. It's just like sending a car to workshop for services. All right.
Okay, question from Ahmad Hari Cycle. Prof, does the current graduates will have the opportunities to be placed in the industry, especially when we are in the current pandemic? Just so you know, I think our previous two batches of students, I think all of them got their place for industrial training.
Yeah. So that's not a problem. Well, the mode of engagement might be different, but then placement, it is not a problem. Okay, that's not a problem. Now, please do understand, of course, aerospace industry at the moment, if you look at the activities, especially if you look at the airlines, there is well, glut. That means it is not as before, but the whole industry is supposed to pick up, especially the aviation industry is supposed to pick up by 2023. We should be actually, well, going on an uptrend mode, and perhaps by another 2-3 years, we may be hitting like where we have stopped before the pandemic. But the global aviation or global aerospace, global aviation industry are deemed to recover by 2023. So next year, you give it a year, then I think you guys have another 4 years, so you are fine. By the time you graduate, I think the industry would have picked up and going towards to another spike, I would say. So you still have time.
Okay, from Mubarak. Mubarak is our international student here. Do you want to ask the question, Mubarak?
Yeah, okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so my question is about like Malaysian aerospace industry. So is it like lenient towards non-Malaysian citizens? Or
yes, if you look at well, most of the international companies, yes, indeed, if you are good, you must be good. If you are mediocre or an average, forget about it. Even to get a job in your own country is going to be difficult. Okay, leave alone foreign countries. Even to get a job in your own country, if you are average student, if you're an average student, it's going to be very difficult. So, but if you are good, you are probably the top 1% or top in the class or top 5% of the class, or you graduate with the first class honors, for example, obviously sky is the limit, as I've told you just now. Okay, and we have a lot of our aerospace graduates here who's also doing their masters or PhD elsewhere in foreign universities, okay, with a full scholarship. Okay, so
thank you.
It's all depends to do. Sky is the limit, as I've said. You are in aerospace field, sky is the limit, as I've told you. You are above all.
Yes. Okay.
Everybody will be functioning terrestrial. That means earthbound, but you are beyond that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Make sure you have that kind of quality. Now, again, in aerospace, the mantra, or rather the rule is this: failure is not an option. If your aircraft fails, it's catastrophic. If your satellite fails, it's catastrophic. But if your car fails, it's fine. You send it to the workshop. Do you guys understand that?
Yes,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah. So which means all the courses that you're going to sit in the department or in UPM, failure is not an option. So don't fail any subjects. We are only talking about getting a very high mark. That's the only thing. That is the only, well, I would say theme or mantra for aerospace engineers. We can't fail. We can't afford to fail like any other engineers.
Okay, Prof. I think we have a last question here, which I think is great for to close our session here today. This question again from Ishwar Devan. Prof, is it possible for an individual person to influence the government into space exploration? I think if I want to expand the question more, can we as an individual engineer student influence anything globally, for example? What do you say, Prof?
Well, government, let's say in this context, maybe our Malaysian government, right? Now, space is money. It's very expensive. Okay, space is money. So as I've said, priority is important. Basically, what I'm saying is that let's say we need to probably address the well-being of humans, or rather our own citizen in the country. Instead of going to Mars, we can prioritize that money or the investment for the well-being of people. So that's what, you know, it goes back to the exact amount of fundings that is available and how much actually we are willing to invest. So it's always the well-being of people versus the exploration. Okay, but when the ecosystem is great, that means you have a fantastic industry support. All those rocket science or space science or even aircraft sciences, there is a lot of spin-offs after that. That means that there's a lot of technologies will be born in this field, can be cascaded into other fields, and that's where they end up making money. So if we don't have that that spin-off, or rather the spill-off ecosystem, technically it's too expensive to just invest one-off. So that's the difference. So there are limits. Not every country is going to do space exploration. If you look at in the world, not all space countries are doing space exploration. There are, at least I can name about, there are 45 countries in the world who's involved in space, actually, about 45. But if you look at them, not all of them are very active in space exploration. Only the huge countries with a huge budget are very, very active in space exploration. China, to start with, one of those very, very big guys. So it's money. It's not about the desire, it's more into the money that you have. We may be inspired, but we must have the money. Just like somebody asked, can I build a company like SpaceX? Yes, you can. You must have the money. Yeah. Is that okay?
That's
Ishwar, eh?
Ishwar, yeah. All right. With that, I think that marks the end of our session today. And we would like to thank Dato Professor, Dr. Engineer Renuganth Varatharajoo from our Department of Aerospace Engineering, Universiti Putra Malaysia. And also, I would like to thank all the participants here. I think it's time now for you to go back to your respective seminar groups and then to discuss on what we've learned today from Professor Renu, all the advice and the vision and the insights from him is going to be useful for you, not only for our seminar groups today, but also in your 4 years of study here and beyond. So again, we'd like to thank Professor Renu. Prof, do you have any final words? Yep.
If they are going to discuss among other colleagues from other engineering courses, well, if you forget everything, whatever I said, doesn't matter, but please remember only one thing: advise them also to take up internship as much as they can, as early as they can. That's very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah, that is a very, very critical point for your employment later on. You can share that. Yeah?
Yes.
All right. So anyway, thank you so much, Salah, for chairing this session, and for all the students. Thank you so much for hearing. If some of you have missed some questions, my email is always available in the website. You can drop me an email anytime, anywhere, no problem. Keep me posted, and all the best. Get the highest mark that you can for each and every courses that will be taught to you in Department of Aerospace Engineering. Failure is not an option. That's all. That is a motto that you need to keep reminding yourself as an aerospace engineer, as opposed to other people. Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. We end our session today. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you so much. Checking out.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you,
you,
Dr.
Prof.
Salam.
Bro.
Thank you, Prof. Thank